Welcome to the Sugar and Napalm Podcast. Join us as we explore the sweet and explosive world of human connections. Here is your host, Sandy.
Thank you, Jarvis. Welcome back to the Sugar and Napalm Podcast, where we dish out equal parts sweetness and spice and all things human, naughty and nice. I'm your host, Sandy, and today we're diving headfirst into the world of pet peeves. From nails on a chalkboard to soup slurpers, we're exploring what makes us tick, and sometimes what makes us ticked off. What exactly are pet peeves? We all have them, but what are they exactly? Think of them as those little annoyances that make your skin crawl and your eye twitch. From minor nuisances to full-blown rage inducers, pet peeves are the bane of our existence, popping up in the most unexpected places and situations. Jarvis really loves Jordan Peterson. Please read his quote.
Sometimes you have to put up with a little bit of annoyance in order to have a meaningful interaction.
Isn't this true with relationships? That first few months of limerence, or in other words, the honeymoon period, and your partner can do no wrong. But once that ends, and your attraction resets to a normal level, you start seeing things in that person that get on your nerves a little bit. Yeah, you chalk it up to their uniqueness, part of their personality, and even if it annoys you a bit, you let it slide because the relationship as a whole is wonderful. These aren't your typical red flags, they're just minor quirks that we're discussing right now. Finding out that your boyfriend slept with your sister? That's not a pet peeve, just so we're clear. Believe it or not, pet peeves have been around since the dawn of time. Or at least humans started rubbing elbows with each other. In ancient times, pet peeves might have included things like the sound of a neighboring caveman's grunting, or the smell of burnt mastodon meat in the morning, or perhaps the blank stare of a slee stack. Fast forward to today, we've got a whole new set of irritants to contend with. Jarvis, can you read that quote from Samuel Clemens, or better known as Mark Twain?
To get the full value of joy, you must have someone to divide it with.
Experiencing joy and happiness is more meaningful when shared with others. True happiness is amplified when it's shared or divided amongst friends, families, or loved ones. In essence, joy becomes richer and more fulfilling when it's not kept to yourself, but rather spread and celebrated with others. So it's worth putting up with some minor annoyances when dealing with the people you love. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. What are some of the most common pet peeves, and why do they make us want to pull our hair out? From people who talk with their mouths full, to drivers who don't use their turn signals, we'll explore the psychology behind these tiny terrors and how they can affect our mood and our relationships. Here are some common pet peeves. Loud chewing or eating noises. People talking loudly on their phones in public places. Leaving dirty dishes in the sink instead of washing them. Tailgating behind a car. I do this one sometimes. Interrupting someone while they're speaking. Being late or waiting for someone who's consistently late. People who don't clean up after their pets in public areas. Leaving lights on in empty rooms. Loud music or noise late at night when you're trying to sleep. The list goes on and on. Jarvis, you mind reading the quote from Eleanor Roosevelt?
No one can make you feel inferior without your consent.
The key to managing your internal implosion is to quote everyone's favorite football fan, Taylor Swift. Shake it off. Drivers are going to be looking at Twitter at the red light. Your kids are going to leave one ply of toilet paper on the roll. Your partner might not load the dishwasher the way you prefer. These are things that can easily increase your blood pressure if you allow them to. Remember, it's not the end of the world. You can't control complete strangers, but you can kindly beep your horn to let the mindless driver in front of you put their phone down because of the light screen. You can take a minute to show your husband how you like the dishwasher loaded. Kids can be taught when and how to change a roll of TP. Now, if this is a habitual occurrence, then we're starting to dip our toes back into podcast number 1, where we discussed lack of self-awareness. But pet peeves are typically just little annoyances. Embracing the quirks and quibbles. As we wrap up today's lighthearted episode, let's take a moment to laugh at ourselves and our own quirky quirks. I personally tend to repeat myself. I mispronounce things and I clear my throat a lot. I can guarantee you, if you spoke to my ex-wife or my ex-girlfriend, they can give you much, much more annoying tendencies about me. After all, pet peeves are just part of what makes us human. Imperfect, infuriating, and endlessly fascinating. So, here's to embracing the madness and finding humor in the little annoyances of life. What things annoy you, besides my voice, did you hear during today's podcast? Let me know. In any case, thanks for tuning in to the Sugar and Napalm Podcast again. Remember, the next time someone's chewing their gum too loudly or they leave their socks on the floor, take a deep breath, count to 10, and try not to let it ruin your day. See you on the flip side. Tune in every Thursday for a unique journey that is both entertaining and enlightening. The Sugar and Napalm Podcast. Available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. Remember, life is messy, and tomorrow is a new day.